Hello, my name is Luis, and today I'll speak to you about high levels of tuition, college tuition prices. Having education is very important nowadays. It's even part of one of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Goals. It falls under the category of quality of education. With Throughout our lives here in America, we are taught that we need to have an education, to have a successful future, and to have a high-paying job that doesn't involve a entry-level position. The problem that we face is that the cost of attending college is very, very high, especially at a four-year university. Most students that graduate high school aren't able to attend college straight out of school due to the high cost. Today I'd like to discuss some of those problems and some of the solutions that we may be able to deal with to fix this issue that we have. The first thing I'd like to discuss to you guys about is the two main types of colleges that are here known in the United States. One of them is community college and the other one's a four-year university. There's not too much of a difference between both of them. The only big difference is the cost of tuition between both of them. According to a report by CNBC, the average cost of attending a community college in 2018-2019 school year was $3,600 a year, compared to attending a four-year university, which is upwards of $10,000 a year. And also to another report by the USA News was that the tuition rose 4% for a four-year university over the last decade, which means the tuitions continue to go up and up over the last few years. The other thing that people have a misconception about is that the education-wise that you get at a community college tends to be a lot worse than compared to a four-year university, but that is false. According to a report by educationcorner.com, students earn just or learn just as much, sometimes even more, attending a community college than a four-year university. So as you can see that the level of education isn't that big of a difference when it comes to both of those schools. Another thing I would love to discuss to you guys about is the high levels of tuition between both of these. As discussed just now, how I said is that the difference between them is almost $7,000 a year. So if a student decides to go to a four-year university, which is what most students tend to do, students have the risk of having to get student loans and student debt, which leads to them not being able to repay it back right after graduating college. According to another report by CNBC, the total level of student debt was more than $1.2 trillion. But this comes to the point that students are having to get loans out, having to pay them off and be able to attend school. And with loans comes with some other issues that pop up is that students tend to just drop out of school in general, just due to the fact that they don't want to get these loans out, or they just feel like school isn't worth it, having to have this much debt stacked on them while trying to afford to focus on school and all that. And also, it comes an issue that students tend to find college very difficult and they don't see the money value of attending school. Some possible solutions to this issue could be possibly having more tax money of the taxpayer go towards these institutions rather than going towards other things that we use throughout the government. Maybe that can lead to lower tuition costs, but that's just time will tell. Another thing that I saw reading online was according to learningenglish.com was that when Hillary Clinton was running for president, she proposed reducing interest rates on student loans, which may helping that lower the $1.2 trillion that we owe for student loans. But obviously that's just a proposal. Hopefully our representatives take action and do these actions. Another thing that we could use to help lower down these tuition costs could be possibly thinking about attending a community college instead of a four-year university straight out of high school, because obviously the tuition cost is a lot lower than attending a four-year university. But just like I stated earlier, throughout the many lives, throughout as young children in the United States, we are taught that we need to attend college, that if we want to be successful. And yet this statement is still true to this day. I think that with the level of education that it costs, isn't necessarily worth it to a point. I feel like if we're getting debt just to go to school, I don't think we should be forced to pay the high level prices that we are. But I think the only way we're able to solve this issue is if we voice our opinions and our thoughts to our representatives and help them make a difference. Because if we don't do anything without them, then the issue will never be solved. So thank you for giving me your time, and goodbye.